Mm. Mm. You know, when you're at the movie theater, you're looking at the screen and there's all these colors moving around and there's sound coming out of the speakers. But understand that even though it appears to you that there's this movement going on, all that's going on is that there's light and then there's something put in front of the light that creates the appearance of images and movement, but there's really nothing but light. And if you can imagine that, then imagine if there were a really sophisticated movie projector that you're calling your body, and it perceives much more detailed moving images. But everything's light. Everything that you see is made up of light. That's all. But then you have a mind that can decipher and distinguish between the tiniest little variations in the light and the sounds and the movement. And then it creates a world that is nothing but light and energy. And so if you can imagine that all there is here is light and energy, you see, and then the mind works with these things and creates a whole world out of something that is just simply light and energy. And when you identify you as the one who is perceiving this, and the one who's experiencing it, you see, then it creates a sense of reality that it's not true, but it seems true because of the connection one makes with their experience. So, you know, thoughts come, and so they're watched, but no one connects with it. When you connect with your thought, then you're thinking, and then you create a whole world of you experiencing, thinking, and doing, you see. But there is no you. There is no you inside this body-mind. It's just an appearance, and it's something that's been conditioned into you to believe that there's a you there, but there is no you there. It's just a sensation and a connection that you've made and then personalized an experience, a perception. Well, you see, when you personalize the perception, it becomes an experience, becomes your experience, and then you have a memory of all these different experiences. And those experiences come with that sense of me attached to it, you see. All they are a bunch of recordings. And the body-mind has certain impressions of those events. And that follows the body-mind through what appears to be time. You see, so there's this sense of movement, of you feel like you're substantial. But in fact, you are nothing more than a collection of thoughts, experiences, imagination, and projections. That's all you are. You're not substantial. You're just a collection of stuff. And the mind puts it all together and makes it seem like there's something there, and the personal identity is formed, and you see, so it seems like that's real, but all there is here, all there ever was and all there ever could be is just light and energy. That's all that's going on, you say. It's not you. There's no you in there. There's just an illusion that you call yourself and that you think is real. But none of this has anything to do with reality. Everything here is transitory. And, you know, it's a part of the whole. So it's not nothing, but it certainly isn't everything. And so you see, if you can just witness your life, so like, okay, you know, thoughts still go on in my case. There's still thoughts. And I watch them, I see them. But because no one connects with them, they just come and go. There's no stickiness, you see. You have a habit of connecting with your thoughts and feelings. And that makes them sticky. And they all stick together and create a thing you call your life. But you know, it's not a very strong glue. And I'm just saying, if you can just sit back and simply watch your thoughts without connecting with them personally, everything would lighten up. Everything would lighten up, and you'd be able to really easily rest in the stillness and the silence that is all around you all of the time. So that's today's message. Nice.
So Ananta,
Yes.
Second. So you say even though you don't identify with your thoughts, do you at all identify with your physical sensations or your states of being?
No, it doesn't mean they're not there, but no one takes it personally. So you know, the classic example is when Nisargadatta was dying, and someone said, "It looks like you're in great pain," and Nisargadatta Maharaj said, "Yes, there is great pain," but no one personally identified with it. You see, so the sensations continue. Everything continues as before, without the stickiness of a connection with it. So you're just seeing it as you see everything else. And you're just with it as you're with everything else. And no one's pulling away from it. No one's trying to get more. It's like the whole structure of desire, going after stuff, and repulsion, trying to get rid of stuff, that doesn't go on. There might be something you really enjoy, but there's no personal, like, oh, I love that. You know, it's not like that. it's not personal anymore. So everything is experienced because it's part of the moment. And the moment, all you're just doing is just being in the moment. Every moment, whatever it is, you're just being in that moment. But there's, you see, the moment is just the moment. And the moment is just always now, 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 now. As soon as you connect with it, you've lost the moment. You're not in the now anymore. You're in the me, my moment. You see, it takes you away. So the experience now is just being. So everything is a part of being. Mm-hmm. Everything's experienced in that. That's the forefront, is the being. And then everything that goes on just goes on within that. And it's not really what it's even happening. It's just an appearance. All of this is just an appearance. It's not like I even think about it, you see. I'm trying to describe it to you, to give you an image of what it is, but no one has an image of what it is when it's happening, because it's just, you're just being, basically. So everything is just an extension of being.
Right. But I was wondering whether, since the Enlightenment and before the Enlightenment, do you have, is there less intensity of physical sensations than before, or less or more awareness, or is that just the same, but you just don't identify with it?
I'm going to say it's both. It's more and less at the same time. It's more because you're 100% being with it. It's less because you're not connected with it. So there's, there's a big difference between, oh, the finger's cut, and oh, I cut my finger.
Right.
So when that happens, it's like what I always say is, oh, I sprung a leak. It's just, that's all. So it's got to be taken care of, because otherwise there's blood everywhere. But
right.
it's true. Like Kelly could tell you, the connection is, Kelly will find cuts or something on me. I don't even know what happened. Maybe in the moment I did, but that was just that moment, and then it was gone. So it's like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's the experience is more and less at the same time.
Yeah, interesting. So it's like the difference between my toe hurts and there's a hurting toe.
Yeah. Well, you see, but you're 100% with it, whatever it is,
right.
100% with it. But there's no stickiness involved. There's no attachment. There's no connection with that happening. So when it happens, it's 100%. When it's not happening, it's 100% not happening. You see? So it's just boom, boom, boom. It comes and goes, just like thoughts would naturally. They come and go. They appear and then they go. They appear and then they go. Now, when you're identified with the thought, they appear and then you analyze it and then you judge it and then you decide whether you like it and whether you want it, and then you think about what if and this and that and imagine and project, and then you've got a whole family of thoughts built around what was just an initial thing that you connected with. So it becomes a whole different deal. You see, and that process doesn't go on. Same thought may arise, but since no one connects with it, it just comes and goes. It doesn't develop any further than that. And there's no, like, I remember thoughts would come, and then I would imagine, well, what if? And then you go into this whole world of imagination. that doesn't happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Tom. It's, I don't think about any of this stuff. That's the thing. There's no thought process to explain some of these things. Like I hear someone like Nisargadatta say some of this stuff, and it's like, I know that's exactly it, but I never thought about it like that because, no one's thinking about this. And he had such a brilliant way of explaining it, some of it. But I know it's correct, but no one has gone into it thinking about any of that because everything just is. You see, it's really simple. It's really, really simple. Everything is, and that's it. So you're just being. And mostly everything's still and silent. Even when things come up, even when there's conversation and stuff, it's not front and center. It's there, but it doesn't, what's front and center is the stillness and the quiet and just being, just being, just being, just being. That's it. And so I think that's what I used to feel around my gurus. I would feel that sense of being, and it was like I would relate to it, like, oh yeah, that's it. I could feel that energy of just being. And that's all it is that there's no one any more connected with that sense of me, that sense of these are my thoughts, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm doing. There's no more connection with that. So it's just like if you were watching a movie and you might connect with it, you might have you're not really connected though. Those aren't your experiences. You're having a vicarious experience through the images, but it's not you. You don't take it personally, mostly. and so that's how life is. Life is much more like watching a movie or a TV show. Maybe it's better quality, but it's just the same. And for what's in front and center is stillness, is just being, and just is. Everything just is. So there's just that sense of being and stillness and watching, being with all of it without anyone actually being there, being with all of it. Just that sense of witnessing without a witnesser. So you see, here again, everything I do to try and explain this doesn't explain it correctly because there's no one doing any of this and there's nothing being done at all. And the whole thing is that you're relating to life as something separate. Everything is you and that. Me and you and this and that. And you see, when that's gone, then there's no more subject and object, and everything's one. So there's no more sense of separation. It's not like it's replaced now with the sense of oneness. There's no more sense of any of it. Everything just is, and there's simply being without anyone being. Everything's just what it is. But the thing is, you see, you can't get it from here because there's nothing that your body-mind tells you that is not a part of the illusion. It's all a part of that dream. The body-mind is a part of that sense of separation. And so what I'm telling you, you can only get intuitively. It's something that you can get not from the words, not even from the feeling, but it's there. It's really simple because this is who you are, you see. So it's not hard to get who you are. It's just hard for the one who you're not to get it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's and the one who you're not is the one that's trying to get who you are. And you see, it's not going to work out. In the end, the one who you're not, that all gets into the background. It fades. It diminishes until the one who you are is just what's left. It's always been there. It's always will be there. It was there before you were born. It will be there after you die. It's there now. And so it's like everything in life is screaming at you, saying, "I'm here." And you, the one who doesn't get it is the one who's imprisoned and doesn't know it. So
right.
that's all it is. It's
Yeah.
but it's so simple that none of my words are good enough for it, and it's so extraordinary that none of your understandings or concepts could possibly touch it. Yet here we are. You see, same as I was with my gurus. Here we are, and somehow there's a chance this can all click.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, you have to get out of the way for that to happen. So I also offer concepts that help diminish that sense of me, or at least make it seem totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that, that can diminish. And really, this is when that false sense that you have of yourself diminishes, what's left is what's always been there, and that's who you are. Mm-hmm. That's who you are, but not like who you are personally. That's
right.
who you really are, which is not a personal thing. It's not even an impersonal thing. It's just what is.
Right.
And so here you see, all of life is just this series of light and energy, and it's all just, whoa. So you can just be with it without the mind getting involved. Just be. You just be still for a while, and it'll just soak into you, because it's doing it anyway. It's doing it anyway, but it's because you make a personal connection with your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences. But the who that you are is not a thought. It's not a feeling. It's not an experience. Now, it is all those things, but it's not any of those things.
Yes.
So you see, that identification draws you into a small reality that isn't even real. Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine in your case that sensation or the feeling of anxiety would never arise. Is that correct?
Anxiety.
Because if you've never identified with your thoughts, or you have no concern with what other people think of you, or
No, it doesn't come up.
or what you think of yourself, then I would have to imagine that anxiety just doesn't arise.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when it has. I hadn't come up with anything yet. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'm open to it. even if anxiety did arise, no one would be connected with it. You see, so it would just be a standalone thing, an experience like any other. It would have nothing to do with me, so I wouldn't even notice. And I can tell you that if it does arise, it's very rare, because I can't even think of it. When? I'll have to ask Kelly.
Because you've talked about some of your gurus, expressing anger.
Yes.
I mean, that's another emotion. Anxiety, I would consider like a secondary emotion, but anger and grief, you've talked about that, with Ramesh. So those are obviously arise, but they don't identify with it. That's what you're saying.
But it doesn't mean that feelings don't arise.
Right.
There's still the issue of being a human. It does come up. So it's none of it is experienced personally. And things just come and go, just like everything else, just comes and goes, and there's no connection with it, with anything that comes and goes. All those things are transitory things. They're meaningless, you see. Everything is meaningless for that matter. But that stillness, that sense of being is permanent.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier really struck me. And you said, even if you're in conversation with somebody, that still isn't really front and center. Whereas the rest of us, it's like we get so engaged,
Right.
and so involved until that conversation's over, or we move on from it. But that I find very fascinating. That's not even still front and center.
No, and yet
But you're still present.
everything is 100%.
Right.
So even though it's not front and center, everything is experienced 100% present, you see? So it's like both are going on at the same time, but there's no personal connection with it, so it's always distant. And yet, there's 100% presence with everything, so it's always right there, 100%. It's difficult to explain because of that. It's both things at the same time, but it's a good image to say it's distant because it is. And that's really the difference between how you're experiencing personal involvement, where you're personally there, and that's not going on. So that's more of a distance. But there is a presence going on. Like the greatest quote I remember from my friend about Shree is, he greeted you as if he had waited his entire life for that moment. That's how present he was. And yet, from him, all you felt was that sense of presence of being. That's what you felt around him, was that enormous presence of just being, of stillness, you see. And yet, you also felt 100%, say 1,000% with you at that moment. So,
which makes sense.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
I have a question in regard to that.
Yeah.
say you're walking along with your bare feet in the house and you accidentally kicked a table leg with a lot of force and possibly broke your toe, and it just hurts like hell. What would you do?
I'd probably go, ow!
And that's it?
Well, it doesn't pass right away. So it's like, I had this experience, when at some point with my weight loss, I was having a great deal of difficulty with my balance, and I did break a toe. And so I remember this. It wasn't that long ago, and it hurt a lot. Like, I didn't even tell Kelly. She was sleeping. I didn't wake her up, but it was like intense. It was intense, and eventually it passed. But that was, what are you going to do?
So you were with it during all that pain, but you weren't with it at the same time?
I was 100% with it, but I wasn't connected to it. Okay, so there was, the toe broke, it was all swelled up and bruised. And but you see how I just said that? The toe broke?
The toe broke, yeah.
My toe didn't break. The toe broke. And you see, so I was witnessing it, but also I had that sensation of pain. And sensations are sensations. My mind wasn't judging it. So that doesn't make it the same impact as, oh, I broke my toe.
Yeah.
I broke a part of me. That has a big impact. So it wasn't that, and my breathing was stifled because of the level of pain, I remember. And I knew it would pass eventually. And I think I just went on, there was nothing to do. Just let it pass. Now, if Kelly had been awake, she would have put some ice on it or something. I couldn't be bothered. So I think I limped into the office and did some work. And like the next day, Kelly goes, "Why are you limping?" So I showed her. That's all. So it's exactly the same experience that you would have without the stickiness of it happening to you. When it's happening to you, it's a big deal. When it's just an experience, it's something that's going to pass. It's like it just doesn't have the same stickiness and intensity. So the mind makes things, it's like a flavor enhancer. It makes things more intense, you see? So it's one thing to have pain, it's another thing to have a mind get involved with, oh, I don't like this, oh, how do I fix this, oh, how do I make it, why did I do that, and that was so stupid, and da-da-da-da-da. You see, and now you've got like this whole Megillah going on, which was just basically, oops.
So the mind's like sodium glutamate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a flavor enhancer. It helps. Salt or sugar, whatever, you makes it, and it, it makes your experiences much more intense in a personal way. It makes everything more of a struggle because the mind, you see, is designed to protect the body. So then the mind clicks in with, oh, this isn't good. Pain isn't good. We've got to fix it. No pain. Got to get rid of the pain, And so, the first thing you do, like, is reach for painkillers or something. You can ask Kelly, I'm famous for not taking painkillers. She does enough for both of us. It's not my thing. But yeah, so it's just, it's like the same thing but different. That's all. And it's just imagine what life would be like if you did not connect with thought, if you simply witnessed or watched thoughts, like you would in meditation, where in meditation, like the idea is, if a thought comes, no one gets involved. They just come and they go, come and they go, come and they go. So that's just the normal state. That's the natural state of being, is that, there's still going to be thoughts because there's still a mind, but they just come and go. And you see, so it tends to be that things are quieter. And I heard a good description of it. It's like if you decide never to answer your phone again, people will stop calling. You see? So if you never take delivery of the thoughts, they don't come as much. It doesn't totally stop them. You still get some unsolicited calls, but they don't come as much, and no one entertains it, so it doesn't really matter.
Wrong number occasionally.
Yeah, usually it's, are you voting for Biden? Every day. Because I answer the phone.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I wouldn't be getting those calls, right? Well, I'd be getting them, but no one would be taking delivery of them, so I wouldn't even know. So don't answer your phone so much. If a thought comes, just don't take delivery of it. Don't, yes, hello, and listen to it, and then participate, and blah, blah, blah. You see? So it's all right, it happens. Sometimes you break a toe. Sometimes there's an injury. Sometimes there's joy. Sometimes there's pleasure. Sometimes there's pain. Sometimes there's this. Sometimes there's that. But if no one is connecting with it, if no one's answering that message and receiving it and then talking to it and playing with it, then it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not even a disruption. It's when it's an extreme pain, like something broken, it's a disruption, temporary. Temporary, like there's some things you can't do when your toe's broken initially. But then you learn to limp. You manage. Maybe someone wraps it up, puts ice on it or something. Whatever. And if they don't, they don't.
Okay.
So it's like that.
Okay. I got it. I think I understand.
Everything just happens. The thing is, nothing is happening to you because there is no you. This idea of you it's not real. You see, like I said earlier, you, the person who you think you are, is just a collection of thoughts and memories and imagination and projection. That's who you are. What is that? It's nothing but a mind's creation. That's not who you are. You're not a mind's creation. The mind has just created its own little reality because that's what minds do. They're virtual reality machines. And so the mind has created a virtual reality, and that's what you're living in. And it's been pounded into you that it's happening to you. And so it's conditioned that you believe this is you. It's just conditioning. It's not you. None of this is you. The who that you are could not possibly be understood by a mind. So if you can just let the mind be the mind and never mind. It's just going on. And you don't have to be involved in all that. They're just thoughts and they come and go. Yeah.
My turn.
Good.
So the piece about being an illusion seems like PhD work. I'm wanting to remember some of your milestones. You know, as you were a seeker, you know, were there certain highlights or moments that you can say, wow, you know, that was an aha?
All of that, all of the progression was just a part of the dream. Mm-hmm. So, yes, of course, there were moments, and I've talked about them, different things that came. But all of that was a part of the dream, because the dream is about movement, is about progress. You don't have to do any progress to be who you are. You already are who you are. And the realization of that is sudden and complete. It's like, so it may take some time for the apple to become ripe. But once the apple falls from the tree, there's no going back. It's done, you see. So there might have been a process of the apple ripening that you can say led to that ultimate release. But the ultimate release is a whole different thing. And the whole notion of time and movement through time and transitions and progressions and going through different levels. Mm-hmm. All of that is strictly a part of the dream. So for now, sometimes it comes up during the talks, you know, to help other people in some basic understandings that may help people deal with being identified with a me, and maybe cleaning some of that up on the way to ripening. But the actual thing that everyone is striving for has already happened. The actual thing is already who you are. Your striving for it is actually distracting you away from it. All it is just that sense of being, that sense of presence, that sense of now. That's all it is. And it will happen when it happens. Mm-hmm. A certain ripening has to happen. But like I said, once the apple falls from the tree, that's it. It's done. It's entirely different than the process. It's over. So I don't know. You probably wanted me to go through my favorites, but not today. You see, the ultimate thing is so simple that you can't do it.
Yeah, I wanted your top 5, you know, or 10 greatest hits.
You'll have to get me on another day.
Okay.
I'll sit down and write them down because I can't think of them right now. They're all part of the process, you see. And the process is really, the process is not what it's about, but the process does happen, and it can lead to the appropriate ripening that ends the process. But yeah.
Mhm. I like the apple analogy. That's very nice. It gives you something to think about and hold on to.
Take a bite into.
Yeah, crispy.
Mm.
Mainly one of your things was you hung around gurus.
That, you know, yes.
So I just want to say thank you for allowing us to hang out with you, because it's really good.
It's my pleasure, of course, you know. And that, you know, what it really was that feeling I got when I was around them. And what that really was that I didn't know what it was at the time. I experienced it in different ways, but there was some feeling in my heart. I could feel this amazing feeling. I didn't really have words for it. Now I do. That it was just that sense of presence, that sense of being, that silence, that stillness was there embodied in my gurus. It was there. It was the same in each of them. It was the same exact thing with a different personality, some different experience energetically because of the personalities involved in situations. But it was that. Now, all I knew is I loved it. All I knew is whatever that was, I wanted it. Now, the thing is that was all misconceived because I wanted what I already had and didn't know, you see? But it was more like I wanted what already had me. So there was some kind of recognition that happened. Something recognized what that was. And since it can't really be said in words, and it wasn't something that could really be understood, I was just like, it was just like a magnetic thing. Like just, I was so attracted to that. And it was the spiritual practice that was consistent throughout my sadhana, was hanging out with these beings and being in that energy as much as possible. And I was very lucky to have the opportunities to have really strong and consistent and persistent exposure to that energy. Somehow, I was able to be in that energy more than most people, and it worked. And I did read somewhere. I read that that's a spiritual practice, is being in proximity with enlightened beings is a practice. The spiritual Baba said it somewhere. So I didn't know about that, but that was my spiritual practice, the consistent one. I tried everything else. I tried chanting, I tried meditating, I tried this, I tried that, I tried yajna. I did all kinds of little things, whatever, you know, different times with different intensity. But this was the one that was persistent and consistent. That's what happened. And in this case, it worked. And I was very lucky. I was very graced to have the opportunities. But, you know, that's what I was pushing for. I was willing to give up the rest of my life to have those opportunities. Mm.
Hey, Nanti.
Yeah.
Hi. You can hear me. Yay. I have a question,
Okay.
and that is, does it matter if all roads lead to the same thing? Does it matter which path? Like, okay, say I'm a bhakti person, but I'm doing this Advaita stuff because this is what you're offering. But if it's not totally my thing, does it matter in terms of the process or awakening or enlightenment or anything like that? Since all roads lead home, does it matter?
No.
Okay.
No. You see, and destiny is destiny. So particularly with enlightened beings, those are clearly destiny. Those are like karmic things that are destined to happen. And so, you don't know the things that'll fall into place that will complete the journey. You
Right.
see, because and journey isn't correct, because whenever you're in a journey, you're in the dream. But just trust that you're being given what's necessary on your path. You just trust that. What else can you do? And it's, there are people like, like Steffi, who's a total bhakti. She's listening to this stuff. She's taking notes. She uses some of these words to inspire her, but her connection is heart, totally, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, even though this Advaita is an intellectual exercise of sharpening the intellect to where it's so clear, so obvious that the things that are not real become transparent, you see. Even though there's that, understand that my connection, like with Baba, was so strong from the heart that was always there in the process. So bhakti and jnani work together equally. So they were partners, and one was totally not with the mind, totally with the heart, and the other one was strong, using the intellect to understand that which could not be understood. But I was hopeful. and I put a lot of energy into understanding that which could not be understood. And it enables me to talk about this today, you see. No, had it been all bhakti, I would have said, well, let's chant for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then, you see, it would have been a different kind of satsang.
Mm-hmm.
You see, but it was both. It was both. And hopefully, you just trust that God is presenting you with exactly what is required. You say, no, you and your heart, Indigo, you are stubborn. I know you well enough to know that basically you refuse to give up the dream. You refuse to simply acknowledge that you're dreaming. And you hold your position You see? So this particular path may be useful in prying you loose from this attachment you have to your dream. Before death does it for you.
Right.
So you see, even though, and the fact that you have this strong bhakti is what's going to pull you through all of this and make it possible that when you can see through the dream, you can fall into that heart that you're more familiar, more like friendly with. So just, because I've talked to you many times privately, and I say, it's not real. None of this is real. Yeah, oh yeah, but, but it's not. Yeah, but. It's like, really, it's not real. It's really not real. And so just see through this dream. See it for what it is. The mind, as a tool, is able to see the unreal as unreal. Okay? It's good for that. So on your spiritual path, if you use the mind, instead of using it to project a fake reality, watch it project a fake reality and stop buying it. Watch it and see it for what it is. All of this is just a projection of the mind, and you have connected with it personally. But it's not personal. It's got nothing to do with you, because the who that you are is that thing that you feel in your heart. And the only reason that thing that you feel in your heart is not front and center is because you personally connected with the dream as yours. It's not yours. None of it is yours. Nothing is yours, and because there is no you. So use this Advaita, use this Jnani to break through, to see the Maya for what it is. And then you will simply merge right into the heart where you came from, which you're more familiar with and more connected with. It'll be simple for you, you see? Without that heart, without Baba, without that connection that I had, everything Ramesh said wouldn't have sunk through. It wouldn't have worked. It takes both. It takes Jnani and Bhakti. They're partners. They're partners. It takes both.
So can we keep the enlightenment from happening? Or in my case, my stubbornness, does that, if enlightenment comes with grace, in other words, say it's timed, it's preordained and it's timed, can I still get in my own way with my stubbornness or with anything? Or if I drop that, does it make a difference?
Okay, all of this is still in the dream. Okay, so the idea of you doing something to get out of the dream is a part of the dream. So forget it. Just forget it. You are as you are. You're stubborn, you're attached, you're this, you're that. It's got nothing to do with you. See through it. See through it. It doesn't matter. You may be stubborn for the rest of your life. With or without the enlightenment, might be just part of your personality. That's fine. It's not an issue. The issue is that you think the dream is real. You think this is happening to you. The enlightenment will never, ever, ever, ever happen to you. You will never be enlightened. When you fall into the background, you will simply be who you are, who you always were. Just wake up. It's really that simple.
Thank you.
Sandy, you have something?
I do.
Good.
Hi. I was having a conversation with some friends, and we were talking about sort of samadhi or sahaja, that where individuals, they go into that. Well, I've heard it said, and maybe even you've said it, but I'm not sure, that consciousness becomes aware of itself. And this other person put it this way, that consciousness apprehends itself in those states where apprehends. It's a funny word, but consciousness somehow becomes aware of itself.
Okay.
And
Do you mean comprehends?
It comprehends, apprehends with an A.
Okay, I'll look it up.
It's not a big deal. But in any case, that consciousness sort of becomes aware of itself. The consciousness that you are, again, this is kind of like spiritual banter, right? But there's a lot of it. And so I want to cut through it. That's my intention here. Not to play, I don't want to play with the words, but I want to cut through the words. Mm-hmm. So this idea that consciousness, knows itself in that sort of moment. Mm-hmm. So, and I just could not buy that. I said, how is it that consciousness can know itself, because it has no need to know itself?
That's correct. But at the same time, because there is this appearance of duality, there is the appearance of distinction here. Because of that, one of the byproducts, one of the side effects, is that consciousness does become aware of its presence because of that apparent duality. Okay? Now, consciousness has no need for that. But understand, consciousness is everything, and within that everything has to be the subset of something, you see? And so within that something, there is the experience of consciousness, putting its head above the water and going, oh, look at that. And you see, it's a short-lived kind of thing. And it's kind of it's an amazing thing, really. It's a moment. and rare. It's rare. And so it's kind of a cool thing that I think is, if there were ever a purpose or a meaning to anything, it would just be that consciousness through this body-mind becomes aware of its existence, you see. And so it's like a booby prize. Not a big deal, but it's pretty cool.
It is super. And so my response to that, when he explained it, and he said pretty much like what you had described just now, and I said, well, then ultimately it's an experience, because you have to come out of that, it back into time to reflect on the experience that you had.
Yes.
Of this spiritual goodie that I think you called it once before.
Free sample.
A free sample.
Yeah, so, but you see, that's not what it is. And yet, through the body-mind, it's experienced in that way, because the mind projects time and that sense of movement and that sense of experience through the perceptions, you see. That's all. But that's not what it is, you see. And when that is actually where you live, that sense of being, that sense of stillness and silence, you know that it's not an experience. Okay, the experience is there, but it's not an experience. You're not limited by that. You're not in that limitation. But still, there is an experience, that's all. The booby prize. That's all.
It is a booby prize, because we get attached to the experience and we think the experience is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but you see, that's only when it's still personal. Okay? That's only when it is simply a free sample, a temporary thing that happened that the mind has now made into an experience and tried to possess, took delivery of, you see? So it's just like a thought that you take delivery of. Now you've had this spiritual experience of oneness and you've taken delivery of it, and as soon as you do that, it's a memory. It's something that happened. It's something in the past now. It's not present anymore. And as soon as it becomes present, it's only because the mind is on the sidelines. No one has taken possession yet, you see. So all you're talking about is the side effect of personalizing that which is not personal, you see. That's all.
This becomes important to me because I've chased a lot of experiences, you know, and a lot of practices and a lot of new agey stuff, and you know, the whole spectrum of free samples.
Right.
And
that's
until
doing in life, even if they're not on a spiritual path, they're after these different experiences that, you know, whatever it is, sex, money, power, whatever it is, and then they go after that. That's the involvement in the little me world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, you know, spiritual seekers take that along with them, and they're looking for the same. They're looking for this oneness, the same as they look for anything else in this world. But this is not the same. This is not something that can be possessed, because this is what possesses you. You know. So it's like, you live in this world where you think you're doing something, and you're not doing anything. I mean, what's making your heart beat now? You know, what's making you breathe? What's bringing the thoughts to your head to begin with? It's like, none of this has anything to do with you. But you live your life personally, and then you claim to have some sense of control over what's going on and some sense of doership. But when you look at it, you see what I'm talking about is, okay, what is making your heart beat? There's an energy going on here. What is that? What is that energy? It's in everything. Everything is vibrating. Everything is like an appearance. It's like an incredible thing. What is that? So you want to dive into that source, that, and from there you find out that that thing that's making your heart beat, that thing that's behind everything, is actually who you are. And it's got nothing to do with the you you've been thinking about. It's got nothing to do with anything you've been thinking about. You see, so that's all that happens is the me personalizes everything, even the highest spiritual whatever. I mean, who wants to be enlightened? You. So, it's like all about me. And the thing is, like I just told Indigo, you will never be enlightened. It's not for you. It's not possible. But when you are diminished enough that you become transparent, you will see what has always been there. You will live there. That will be what's predominant. And the rest of this stuff will be background stuff. It won't ever take that position again. The apple has fallen from the tree. It will never go back to the tree. It will always be free from that. Did that help at all, Sandy?
It does. I still have to tease it out a little bit because, this idea of I keep going back to, it has to be the mind that's conjuring up this idea that this small self is somehow coming to know this greater self. Because there is no small self or greater self. There's only this pure existence, life living itself.
Yes. That sounds clear. Yeah.
It's like it can't get out of itself. It doesn't need to get out of itself to see itself because it is itself.
Are you talking about the capital S self?
Yeah, the capital S self.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So the who that you are is the who that you are, whether you're aware of it personally or not. And if you become aware of it personally, then it's just a temporary experience you see anyway, because you stay in the personal realm and return to it, you see, to the small s. But you are who you are, and it takes zero effort to get there because you're already there. And the one who is putting the effort in, and the one who thinks she's doing something, is the only one who doesn't know that who that you are. And as long as there is a personal connection with that one who's doing and that one who's moving toward, etc., that veils the knowing of who you are, the capital S self. That's all. It's just a veil. It's the mind's job. The mind is a veil disguising what is obvious. So it's like when you're in the movie theater, you're focused on the colors on the screen. You forget everything else in the movie theater. You are totally focused on this movement. You know actually there's nothing happening, but you choose to forget. And so in this life, you just choose to forget and believe that this movement is happening. But there's a movie theater. It's just a room with lights and colors and sound. That's not who you are. So if you can just break free from that willful forgetfulness, just, and wake up to the fact that none of this is real. And everything is one. And this notion of separation, of identification with distinctions, with movement. It's okay, there is movement. There are feelings, there are thoughts, there are things happening, but it's the connection that you have with them that makes them veil the truth of the situation. You see, so if you can use that which you know, like if you really know it's not real, you can just do like Trump and just say fake news.
Well, could you say that this phenomenon, I mean, could you bundle what everything you said, this that which is non-existent, making itself apparent, could you just say that's what Maya is?
Yes. Maya is simply, okay, you go to sleep at night, you have a dream, and while you're having the dream, it's real. And the moment you wake up, it's not real. Mm-hmm. So that was your little Maya moment in sleep. Now you're having your little Maya moment in the wakeful state. It's more convincing because it lasts longer. It's a little more consistent. It has better rules. But it's the same deal. It's the same deal. And so all it is, there's this projection going on through your mind, a virtual reality projection. And you can watch it just like you would watch a movie, but knowing that it's just a show. It's not you. It's a dream. It's a dream, and there's a dream character doing this and that. It's got nothing to do with you. So.
Very, very nice. Very good. Very good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anyway, that's what it is. Ah!
Hi, Ananta.
Yes,
Can I ask you a question?
of course you can.
I just wanted to say hi first. It's along the same lines, and I don't even know if my brain is ready for asking this question or for the answer, but it's here.
Okay.
So along the lines of I'm trying to think of how to even ask the question. It's probably really easy, but the real and the not real. I get how in a dream, right, you wake up and you're like, oh, that was not real. And in waking life, I've only had experiences, of course, right? So there's not been this continuous thing of seeing or experiencing what I think is real. And I don't even remember fully those experiences because they weren't recent, and they were in different, varying degrees, right? I feel a lot of presence this satsang, even though I didn't come in open and clear or anything. So I was kind of really surprised to feel that. Anyway, but so I can totally understand how there's a lot that is projection and a lot that is not real, like our thoughts and feelings about things. And the part where I don't get, and maybe it's because I'm not getting it right, is that we still are flesh and blood bodies. We're not, right? Like, we're not trying to say none of this is physically actually not real, right? And if we are, I don't know how to make sense of that, because here we are, like I'm hitting my arm right now, you know, this, I feel this, even if it doesn't have a big impact, there's something there. We're having this conversation. It's not just, you know, I don't believe it's just me in my own mind, even if on some level it is. And a lot of stuff is happening in the world, even if a lot of it is also projection. There's also, people are dying, right? And in ways that aren't accordance with like length of life or illness or whatever only. And I can't ignore all of that, and I don't want to. But I guess the question is, this idea of the not real, I don't know how far it is supposed to go in the meaning of it, even. And I guess the reason I feel scared of maybe, or not ready to answer the question, ask the question fully, or hear the answer, or take in the answer, is because I don't know if I'll even believe the answer. Because I don't know if my mind will go for it. But are we saying that none of it's real, or are we saying that some of it's not real?
You're dreaming. Okay?
No one's dying?
Hmm?
No one's dying?
You're dreaming. In the dream, people are dying. In the dream, people are being born. In the dream, all kinds of things are happening, but it's still a dream. Okay, so you're a dream character having a dream. Now at night, you have a dream, it's just short. And all kinds of things happen in that dream. You have all different feelings about it, and blah, 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 blah. Now you're in a waking dream. The dream is just a dream. It's a good quality dream because the virtual reality through the body-mind is fairly good quality. It's at least good enough to fool a mind. Okay, but it's just a dream. Look, think about this. You are a dust speck.
A dust bag?
You are a dust speck living on a dust speck.
Oh, dust speck.
Okay, there's
the definition of that word.
What's that?
I don't remember the definition of that word, despot.
No, dust speck.
Oh, dust speck. Okay, thank you.
You're a dust speck living on a dust speck. There's this planet Earth, tiny blue dot. You get farther and farther away, it's not even that, it's invisible. Okay? We're just talking about within the solar system, not within the galaxy, not within the universe. We're talking about a dust speck, and you are a dust speck living on a dust speck. How real do you think this is? How real do you think this could possibly be?
I do think it's real. I don't know if there's matter. I'm not trying to get scientific. I'm just saying there's matter.
But you see, the you who thinks it's real isn't real. You're just talking about a mind. A mind thinks its body-mind is real.
Why would there be minds then to be just go crazy?
No, because a body will not survive without a mind.
So the body is here.
The mind is designed to help the body with its survival.
So the body's still here.
the body is here,
Okay.
but it's here within a dream. Okay, now look, these are
Okay. This is making more sense to me.
these are analogies to help you understand with your mind something that cannot be understood. But no, you cannot see this because the mind can see the unreal as unreal. Okay, so all that's going on here is a very high quality, sophisticated dream. Okay, so you are living in a dream, and of course, just like any other dream, when you're in the dream, you think it's real. That's the nature of it. Okay? So but it's not. And it's just a temporary phenomenon. Look, 6,000 years ago, there were a bunch of people who felt their dream was just as real as you feel yours is today. And we don't know their names. We don't know anything about them. It's like they're gone from history. No one knows anything about them. No one even knows they existed. But their dream was just as real to them 6,000 years ago as your dream is to you now. But you understand that the who that you think you are is not the who that you are. It's just the who that the mind you have connected with your thoughts and feelings and with the body as you. But that's not you. That's not you. That's not what's making your heart beat. That's not who you were before you were born. And that's not who you're going to be after you die. And it's not who you are now. But it's a convincing illusion. I mean, you have to hand it to God. He created a very convincing illusion. And it's hard to break free from it because it's such a good job. It does such a good job of fooling the mind, but the mind is just fooling itself. And the mind isn't who you are. You're not your thoughts. Thoughts just come and go. Thoughts come. You don't even know where they come from. They just come. You're not your feelings. You're not this body. You haven't done anything. You have this feeling, this sense of having done something, just like you do in a dream, but nothing's happened. You can have a dream of traveling to far off lands, even other planets. You have this intense dream, and you wake up, you haven't gone anywhere. You never left the bed. Now you're having a dream. And you have this dream of doing this and that, feeling this and that, and this happening, and all this, boom. Nothing has happened. Nothing has ever happened. But, you enjoyed your dream. You had a little dream. You had a little movie, a little episode that you're calling your life. But this is not your life. This is just a life. These are not your feelings. These are just feelings. This is not your experience. They're just experiences. The who that you are is beyond all experiences, beyond all of these thoughts, beyond all of these feelings. The who that you are is everything. You're living in an illusion that you're in separation, that you're living in these little distinctions. There's you, there's me, there's this, there's that. I like, I don't, I want, I hate, I blah, blah, blah. It's a dream of distinctions. And there's no distinctions with you. You're everything. You and I, we're the same. We've always been the same. How could we be different? It's just a thought that you have attached yourself to, that you have claimed as yours. But it's not yours. Nothing here is yours. Nothing here is yours. When you die, how much of this do you take with you? 0. Nothing here is yours. This is just a scene from a play. And you're living out your little play. And for you, it's all new and revealing. But it's a play. There's a script. It's already done. You know how it's exactly going to go. You were born at a very particular time, in a very particular place, and you will die at a very particular time, in a very particular place. It's all in the script. Everything in between, everything beginning and end. But here's the thing. What were you before you were born? What will you be after you die? What is making your heart beat now? You want to be with that. You want to be with that energy that is consistent and never changes. That's with you always. That's where we live. Truly, that's where we meet. That's what's here now. This sense of presence that you feel in this very moment, that sense of being, just being, is exactly the same now as it was when you were 5. It's exactly the same for you as it is for me, as it is for everybody. That's where we meet. That's what's real. The rest of this is just a dream. And you can enjoy your dream, or you can hate your dream, or you can whatever your dream, but it's just a dream. It's not who you are.
Can I ask more questions? What's that?
Did that help at all?
Yes, and it's kind of that, you know, my mind, of course, goes to different places. I'm almost imagining not imagining, but like you're trying to wake me up out of a coma and like remind me what's happening, really happening, right? What's that?
That's correct.
Yeah, there's that part. And I don't know why I imagined this, whatever, imagination stuff. And then there's the part that it's like, okay, so we are what I'm not fully comprehending yet, or haven't dropped the veils to fully get. And there are these bodies that isn't necessarily me, even though I feel like I'm inhabiting it.
Yes.
But the body's still there somewhere, physically, because I mean, we're here physically. And I know maybe this goes against it, but that's the part that it's like, am I just supposed to not focus on that? Because I cannot say there is no body. Maybe it's not my body, and I'm just think I'm in it right now, and something is animating it, and I'm living, feeling like I'm living the experience. But to say there's no body at all, maybe I cannot think about that, but I can't believe that's not true.
Did I say that?
No, but that's the part I want to get. I feel like I'm confused about, and that would help somehow. Or maybe that's not where my focus should be, and that's why we're not talking about that part.
Look, all this is just going on, but it has nothing to do with you. So if you have the television going on in the living room and you're cooking in the kitchen, it's going on. The show is going on.
Okay.
But, you know, you got other things to do. Anyway, you pay attention to it when you want to, but it's still not you. Even if you enjoy the show, even if it makes you laugh, even if it makes you cry, you know it's not you. It's just a show. So all this goes on until it stops, you see? So the body-mind continues with its show. All of this, the projection continues, the alternate reality, it just continues, virtual reality, that sense of this, you know, it continues, but no one gets involved with it. So you see, now, right now you have a thought, and then you identify with the thought, and then you follow that thought. You take delivery of that thought as yours, and then you have a feeling from that, and then you don't like that feeling. You think, why are these people dying? They shouldn't be dying. This is a bad thing. I must do something, or why is this happening? And you see, now they're all involved in this dream world, and you've lost that connectiveness that you have to everything, that sense of just being in this moment, right now. Look, just for this moment, just for this moment, be still. Just for this moment, just be. Okay? Do it right now. Okay. That's how simple it is. That's your home. Okay? Let the dream be the dream. Let this be your primary place of being. Simple. Just be still. Just be in the moment. Thoughts come, thoughts go. Things happen, things don't, whatever. It's got nothing to do with you, because you feel that in this moment when the mind was still for a moment and you were just being. That's awesome. That is so awesome. That is so absolute, complete, that you cannot possibly comprehend it. It's beyond anything you could understand, but you know it. You know it, and it knows you. And in fact, that stillness, that moment, that is you. Okay, that's the true self, capital S. That's you. The rest of this is just a dream. Let it go on. If there's involvement, then there's involvement. See it for what it is and return back to this moment. You have it, you see, you have that with you always. Always come back to that stillness that is your own heart, that is your own place, that is beyond anything that's yours, really. Beyond anything that you could understand or experience. But it's there. Now, try not to forget.
It almost seems like the questions, like there's curiosity, because it's like, well, this doesn't make sense to me, right? But maybe just not thinking about those questions is what's helpful. It's just, I don't feel like the answer is going to get me there. It's just this question that's like, this doesn't make sense. I want to solve it. Maybe it'll help me be here more easily and be more easily. And it doesn't. It's just a question that wants an answer.
Doesn't matter. That's what the satsang is too, you see. This is how it was done with my gurus. People ask questions. And one time I said to Ramesh, I said, well, it's time for one of my patently stupid questions. And what Ramesh said is, what you must remember is the answers are equally as stupid.
That's interesting.
Don't worry about it, because
Okay.
all this comes through the back door.
I just never asked before, and I was always curious, and that never made sense. And I thought, you know what, you might just answer it for me. And it might fully land, but I don't think that's a question. Yeah, I don't think that's the question for me.
What's that?
That the trying to understand the real and not real.
Yeah.
I don't think that helps me get anywhere, because it's not getting it. And it's not getting me anywhere. And
Yeah,
but just being is, it does.
You getting somewhere is part of the dream.
Sure.
Ah!
That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to get to ask these. To at least ask.
You were there for that moment in
Yeah.
that sense of just being, where there was stillness for that moment.
Yeah.
Return to that, because that's the only thing here that is anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Hmm. Whew. Mm. This has been nice. Anything else? Anybody else? Make sure everyone has a chance here. Okay. Satsang next Sunday. We're going to sit quietly for a short time and be in that stillness, that sense of just presence, of being. If a thought arises, just don't connect with it. Thoughts arise, just let them subside on their own. And live a life where you no longer take delivery of and connect with the various experiences here. See about that. We'll sit quietly for a short while.